let's just sew whatever. Well, hello everybody. This has been a long-awaited tutorial. I'm so sorry for the delay, but this is how to make a padded crossbody strap. I used cotton woven and a fusible fleece, and you could make this into a fanny pack strap by using slide buckles, slide release buckles. Yeah, or you could make it into a crossbody strap just by using a slide adjuster and some snap hooks. So I hope you enjoy. This is really simple, really fun, and I really love the feel. You can opt to use this instead of webbing. You could make this your crossbody strap. Either way, all you're gonna need is some fusible fleece and a cotton woven. I don't know that I would recommend this with vinyl just because it might be too thick, too squishy, and the padded strap is more for comfort, and sometimes vinyl straps don't provide that comfort. So I have this cotton woven print here ready to go. I'm going to be cutting this 4 times the final width of the strap. So if you are cutting for a 1.5 inch strap, you're going to need to cut 6 inches of fabric. So however that math works. I'm going to go ahead and actually rip this. Because it's a cotton woven, you can rip it along the selvage and you're going to have a straight rip. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. All right, and since this is a custom woven fabric, it is a little over 55 wide, so perfect for an average crossbody strap. If you're making one for a taller person, a more plus size person, you may want to add some fabric. But otherwise, we've got our 6 inches here, 6 inches wide by the length. And then I'm gonna get my heat press ready to go so that I can fuse my fleece. But I am using Geeky Fleece from Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts. I absolutely love the loft of it, but you can also use a Pallon fusible fleece or Thermolam Plus, something to that extent. And we're going to be cutting 3 inches wide of that for this strap. But if you're making it for whatever you're making, you're going to want to do 2 times the width of your final strap. So again, final strap is 1.5, so I need 3 inches total. So whatever math you need to do, you can do that. But then I'll be fusing my fleece to this. I've got brand new package of Geeky Fleece here. Fusing instructions are printed on the package. And when I am using interfacing and I only have one little chunk of it, I like to keep one side for straight cuts and one side for other cut shapes. Super specific, I know. So yeah, one side for straight cuts and the other side for random curved pieces. But I've got a nice straight side here. I'm going to start cutting my 3 inch wide strips, and I will need 2 strips, but I may have some left over. That's okay. So there's one. And there is 2. And then I'm going to fuse this in the center of the strap. So if you need to, you could measure to make sure you've got the exact right center. You could fold it, whatever you need to. But basically you should have 1.5 on each side. Because once we fuse this, we can fold up this raw edge, fold in these long sides to just wrap around there. And then when we go to our sewing machine, we're just going to fold that in half again. And once we fuse this fleece, it creates a nice thick fabric and a nice padded strap that adds comfort when you wear your bag. You can also, if you really want a nice thick strap, you could use foam instead, or you could potentially fuse the entire width of your fabric, but just keep in mind that's going to be adding a lot of bulk as you're sewing it. So I would definitely recommend adding a 1.5 inch a 1.5 inch wide mouth slide adjuster to make room for all the bulk that you're going to be adding. And then you can grab your favorite snap hook. Or if you're making a fanny pack, you could use your slide release buckles and you wouldn't have much issue. My interfacing is fused and ready to go. And I've got my little iron here and a very messy, dirty ironing board. Who doesn't? I am not using any steam for this. I don't like to put steam in the Oliso irons. I've just had too many bad experiences. But that's okay because it folds. It heats up quickly and the heat is great, just as it is. So I am just folding the fabric and wrapping it around the fleece. This fleece really has a nice way of fusing to the fabric, giving it a nice structure. And then we're just gonna do this to the entire strap. You can do one side at a time if you wanted. If you have a large iron, you might even be able to get away with doing both sides at the same time. Now, if you are making this strap for a fanny pack and you're using like the slide release buckles, something like that, you don't need both ends to be finished ends. But if you're making a crossbody strap, you kind of do. So keep that in mind as you're folding. And I know there are a ton of methods for finished edges on straps and reducing bulk and all that when you're using cotton. So if you know of one you like, feel free to use it. I am using an industrial sewing machine to sew this, so I am not concerned with trying to reduce bulk. I don't need to, and I don't think it looks bad in the end. So I'm just folding that raw edge in, ironing and pressing. And then if you wanted to, you can iron this in half now, or you can just clip it together as you sew. I just think it feels so nice. I truly don't think I would recommend adding more than 2 layers of the fleece. Once it's fused, it really stiffens up your fabric and gives it a nice loftiness. And then you can even stitch down this multiple times if you wanted to give it a really fun padded look, or we can just do the edges. I will probably just do the edges, but you never know when you get in the zone. Make sure we turn our iron off, and we're ready to take that to our sewing machine. You want to make sure you've got a nice full bobbin so you can sew around this with no issues. And then the longer your stitch length, the faster it will be to sew this together. I've got about a 4.5 or a 5, and that would be my preferred and recommended top stitch, but you can do whatever you'd like. And I always start with the edge that folds in together, not the finished edge, because if you start on the finished edge, your other edge is going to look really weird. Things may not line up. in this area, you can just tuck in. And this last edge is super quick. And then if you wanted to, you can find the center and stitch down, or you could do 2 rows along the edge, or you can just leave it as is and let the padded strap really just be for what it is. So to make this a slide release, you may need to cut in one section or make 2 separate straps. But for the crossbody strap, we're going to take one end. We're going to decide what we want to be the outside or the inside. I want this to be my outside. So with the inside facing up, or the wrong side of our slide adjuster facing up as well, we're just going to wrap that around the center bar. And you can sew 2 parallel lines or a box stitch, but depending on what kind of bag you're making, if it's going to hold a lot of weight, you probably want to have a box stitch, or at least 2 lines of stitching. That way you know that it is secure and it's going to hold what you're carrying. It's very important. And now I've got 2 snap hooks. These are available on my website, mormino.com. We have all kinds of hardware. They come wrapped in a paste film so that they don't scratch. Can be annoying to remove sometimes, but worth it in the end. You can even save this. If you make items to sell, you could save this to try to wrap around the hardware when you're done sewing with it to prevent it from scratches. So like, you could just wrap this around this part, etc. Okay, so we've got wrong side face up. We're going to take our snap hook with the snap part in our hand and go underneath and loop up and over the center bar to create our strap. So we'll flip this back over, wrong side face up, snap hook in your hand, and fold this part around that final snap hook. And that is a super quick, super easy padded strap. I'm just going to do a box stitch here. You could add some rivets if you'd like to make it look really fancy, or you could keep it simple with a little box stitch and you can do an X through it. Or sometimes I'll even just do one diagonal line. Pull your threads to the back. And that is it. So you can see it's got just a little amount of little squish to it. So it's going to be a really comfortable strap to wear. And with that fusible fleece, it's going to hold up really well. Thank you for watching.